Present.
Ms. Larkin,
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Kreider,
Present.
Mr. Rollins,
Present.
Mrs. Stoneburner.
Present. Next, we'll begin with the invocation followed by the pledge. Tonight, there's a correction to our agenda. Ms. Gail Block will be doing our invocation. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to you this evening, we want to first thank you so much for the blessings that we all have in our lives. Please, dear Lord, be with the City Council tonight. And we hope that you allow them, have your guidance in the decisions that they have to make. And please, Lord, be with our police department and our fire department and keep them safe. And we ask these things in your precious holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have the summary of proceedings from February 20, is it 26?
No, 9.
February 9th. I'm just sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Yes, Mr. Parsons?
Yeah. On page 4, the third sentence, it says, the mayor explained that payrolls from November 2025 when New World began. I think that should be ADP began in November. Is that correct?
Could you give me that page again, Mr. Smith?
Page 4, third sentence down.
Oh, yes. That would make sense. Here?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that? Mr. Barr?
I'll make a motion to approve with that correction.
Okay, and Mr. T. Smith?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proceedings. You ready?
Mr. Barr,
Yes.
Ms. Larkin,
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Kreider,
Yes.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Accept the proceedings. New business. Item number 1, ordinance 2026-018.
Ordinance amending Chapter 194.081, credit for tax paid to other municipalities, last amended by ordinance 2023-029.
Let's see. Mr. Rollins, this came out of finance.
Yeah, this came out of finance with a 2-1 recommendation to adopt. I will open it up to the floor for any conversation at this time.
Mr. R. Smith?
Maybe to the law director. In the amendment, down at the bottom, it's crossed out that the credit shall not exceed the tax assessed by the municipal income tax on such net profit, salary, wages, et cetera, and then the next line, credit will not be allowed to the extent individuals entitled to a refund of the municipal income taxes paid to other such municipalities. Should that, if we're not allowing the credit, should that also be removed? That last line, since there's no credit.
So it's been a while since I drafted it. I would imagine the rules will not be suspended this evening, so I will check so that I can answer that 100%.
Okay.
But I believe at the time I drafted it, I had reviewed that and it should remain, but I'll confirm that at the next reading.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. T. Smith?
Yeah, I would fully expect us to go all 3 readings. That way, everybody has the chance to come up here and speak on it. Everybody should have that chance and opportunity. My stance on it, though, is I do feel like it's important that we that we pass this, because our municipality needs the tax revenue that this will produce. So that's just where I stand on it, and we'll leave it at that for right now.
Anything further? Mr. Kreider?
Just a couple of things. I think going the full 3 readings, it might give the opportunity for the auditor, treasurer, and so forth to maybe get a little bit more standing on what we will or will not have, and so forth. Just to make a note, a majority of the council members last Saturday attended the Ohio Municipal League training for incoming city council representatives. And this question, I believe, Mr. Ralph Smith brought up the question about, did you bring up that question about the income tax and so forth? Yeah, you did. So I think it was an interesting, just a comment, an interesting comparison to what other villages and towns and cities have going on and so forth. But I'm hoping that we at least have a little bit more information before it's voted on completely. That's all.
Anything else? Mayor Collins?
I just wanted to make a couple points on this. One, just so everybody's clear on my stance on this, I think this is absolutely needed. As I referred back to our recovery plan and us being in fiscal caution and what we have to do to overcome that. This is simply going back to what the voters voted on when this income tax increase was implemented. It had no caveats for people that worked out of town and lived in the city. And we've talked about this, I think we talked about it back in 2023 when they implemented it. And a lot of the affirmative arguments for this would be everybody uses these services. Whether you live here or not and work outside the city, you come back to the city at some point. And because you're paying a tax in another city where you work, you're just helping pay for those services. So to us, this was a big hit to our revenue stream. The people from the state have made it clear that they want to see us be able to increase our revenue, that we can no longer remain stagnant. We have nearly $9 million in negative fund balances that we need to address. And I respectfully disagree with one councilman that says we do not have a revenue problem, because we do have a revenue problem. We passed a budget this year that was in line with what our revenue was, which hasn't been done for any years that I know of. And it's just that there's no other, the ways that we're going to look at to increase revenue are not going to be popular. They're not going to be easy, but the state is going to expect us to do that. And us failing to do that would likely result in us going to the next level of fiscal watch.
Thank you, Mayor Collins. Mr. Rollins?
Yep. So first of all, let me start off by apologizing to local radio station and the listeners this morning. I completely misspoke. I thought we were repealing this back to a 50% tax credit, and it's completely repealing any tax credit whatsoever. So for that, I apologize. I completely misspoke this morning. So let me just get that right off the bat. Secondly, listen, I completely understand the arguments to be made about the utilization of services and those people not paying income tax to the city of Marion. I do want to point out that those people who work outside the city and travel for work, if you've ever commuted for work, first of all, that's not a luxury. There's nothing nice about commuting for work. Secondly, those are the people that are frequenting our local establishments, our local businesses, and spending money in our downtown. I agree that this is a problem. This is a problem across the state, and it should be addressed at the state legislature. Secondly, We were able to cut $5 million from the general fund budget without a single layoff. That is a spending problem. That is not a revenue problem. That's an accountability problem that we have. It's not a revenue problem. Penalizing the citizens who are forced to work outside of this city is not the answer. If you want income for the city, the answer to that is job creation. That's economic development. And we have no path forward for that whatsoever. This is not a unique circumstance for Marion. Turn on the news. There are municipalities and counties all over the country who are suffering right now. And the largest part of that is because money was handed out hand over fist during COVID, and we spent like drunken sailors. Now the COVID money's dried up. Do you think any of these municipalities planned on reeling that spending back? Well, now it's time. I want to also add that the optics and the politics of having a finance chair move this out of a committee and then a day later resign that position is not good. We can say what we want, but that's politics, and it's not good optics for anybody involved. We have a responsibility as city council people to keep an environment in the city that fosters business, and it fosters people wanting to move here. I would urge my fellow city council members to do the conservative and the traditional Republican thing and reject these tax increases. I will yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins. Anyone else? Mr.
Does
Watts?
the ordinance give a specific date on when this takes effect? Or does it just take effect after it's...
30 days after it's passed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Chris Lepke, 555 Normandy Drive. So I remember the discussion in 2023, but I don't remember, so when this was amended in 2023, at the time, was it a 50% credit?
Yes.
It went from 50 to 100.
Okay.
But it went to 50 to 0. In 2020, it was, right, 2023
Oh, it went from 50,
to 100, and now this
Right,
proposes to
would be
give 0
zero,
credit.
right,
I'm
right.
sorry, yeah.
and so what, in 2024, the first full year that it was implemented, what was the difference in income tax revenue?
It was somewhere in the neighborhood of $354,000.
And has that been pretty consistent?
I believe it was almost twice that.
Yeah, it's about 600,000.
Mr. Watts,
I don't
you're
have...
the tax commissioner.
Yeah, I don't have the figures in front of me to say on the record.
Sorry, Ms. Lopke, go ahead.
So how can you not know that if it's sitting in front of you to have a reading on? I mean, as a member of the public, before I can voice an opinion, and not, I mean, I know I don't get a vote, right, but an opinion to my council representatives, I'd like to know what is the revenue, what's the difference? Like, where were we in 2023? What did we lose? How much might we expect to gain back?
That's what we were told in 2023 that we were losing.
Yeah, about four,
And that-
just, right.
That's what I can tell you.
And is that some of the information you're hoping to have at the second and third reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Arsman? Go
You
ahead.
might address that question to Ms. Lang, because she was involved in that quite a bit. So she would probably have that figure for you. I think it was between $500,000 and $600,000, closer to 6.
And so what's the expectation that it's going to bring in now? Again, that's the number you don't have. Am I correct?
Well, if we were at
You built
50%
that.
at $350,000, as Mr. Rollins said, if
You're
we're going back to
assuming, right.
100%, I'm
Right.
assuming $700,000.
Right. But again,
Roughly.
we don't know.
Yeah.
And can we get that information from tax returns? Because you can go back and see, right, where the credit,
We can estimate,
Yeah.
but... you know,
right,
I
because
mean,
you're only looking at the past, right, I
Yes.
understand that. So I would recommend that for the second and third readings that we have that information. So,
Yeah. Can you have that for us, Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, I have a couple questions just about the deficit spending generally. Would this be an okay time to ask them, or should I wait till matters not on the agenda?
Probably matters not on the agenda would be better. Thank you. Yes.
First, Mr. Rollins, we all make mistakes, we're all humans, and thinking that it went from 100 back down to 50, which it was originally, would make the most sense. And as I think we sort of briefly discussed today, that's what happens when legislation gets rammed and passed without people having a chance to thoroughly examine it.
Can you get your name and address for the record?
I'm sorry, Naomi Craig, 365 Silver Street. I thought everyone knew.
Thank you.
To the point of how the legislation was passed and when it was passed, Mr. Russell just said that it has been a while since he drafted this legislation.
About 3 weeks. About 3 weeks.
Okay. Ms. Lang said on the radio that it had been worked on and it was finished last Wednesday to get added to the agenda on Thursday. So you've been working on it for a few weeks, but yet it landed right on the deadline to end on the agenda the day after she was going, or the day before she resigned. So my question is, though, collections on income tax. Do we have any idea how much income tax is owed to the city that has not been collected?
I would estimate around $1 billion.
Okay.
We have about a 97% collection.
Okay, so have we tried collecting that $1 million? I know we passed off sewer bills, et cetera, to the Attorney General, is that right?
The sewer bills don't have anything.
No, they go across the street. What did we pass off to the Attorney
We
General?
decided not to because they were gonna do a 20% markup on it. So I believe we shot that down.
Yeah, that.
We didn't move forward with it, is what I should say.
Okay, I thought it was 10%, but, okay, so we did, now that we know that we're owed millions upon millions of dollars, possibly, could we consider collecting that before we just start tapping into the working people of the city of Marion?
That's on the table as well.
Okay, I think
There are
that,
many revenue streams that are on the table this year.
I used to prepare taxes on the side back in the day. One thing about our system, have we thought about updating it to make it an automated system instead of a paper-only system?
I'm with you.
Because what I used to run into was a lot of people didn't file their income tax. I would tell them, Marion is a mandatory filing city, you have to do it. Here's the piece of paper, I'll complete it for you for X amount of dollars, and no, I'll do it myself. I don't know them anything, I'll do it myself. They never do it themselves. Or they pay me the $30 to complete their return, and they owe the city $500.
And they don't turn it in.
They're not cutting that check that day. So if they don't know, they would have me send it, or I would tell them you don't know, and then I wouldn't do anything. If they owe that $500, that paper return never gets sent in. And I know people that have not filed, whether they owe or not, for years. And I know from my own personal experience, I've lived in my house for 18 years. I still get paper forms from people that lived there before me to file their income tax. So are we really sure that we're only owed $1 million? And if we don't have a good way to track those returns, and I realize the paper situation is cumbersome, I couldn't imagine what you're facing doing paper tax returns for people, it probably takes all year. I mean, realistically, if everybody's filing. But we have W-2s filed by employers. So we should be able to match who's paying and who's not paying. And if we had an automated system, we would be able to do that. Now, I know it's an investment, but if we're owed $1 million, possibly plus, would that be investment worth making? An investment worth making. Ms. Lepke already asked, how much revenue will this raise? We said 700,000, but we don't know. How much spending have we cut? And when I say that, was the 2026 budget actually less than the 2025 budget?
Yeah.
It was? By how much? Because
Well, by 75% so far.
what I saw, we didn't really have a 10% reduction from the 2025 budget. We had a 2026 budget that had a wish list, and the wish list was pared down. Because I think if we looked at what was actually budgeted for 2025 and 2026, there's an increase. So if we're going to raise $700,000 worth of revenue, can we cut $700,000 worth of spending? Can we cut $300,000 worth of spending in a good faith effort to the taxpayers to explain to them, yes, we need your $700,000, but to offset that, we're going to go ahead and cut $300,000 additional over the 10% you're claiming that was cut. And then I would like to know if somewhere the public could get a breakdown of what was actually cut, line by line, possibly department by department. Because what I find, 2026 spending is increased over 2025. And if that's not correct, then I would like to know, because I like dealing in facts. And then also, is there a place where the public can see the demands or the requests made by the state auditor to justify this tax increase? Because we keep being told that the state has suggested this and that we should do it. Can you put that in writing for us so we believe you? And knowing what I know about auditing, I do have a couple degrees in accounting. I know the state likes to be vague on these things because they like to see where we're going to take ourselves to see how much oversight we need. And when we immediately go to raising taxes, but we have not cut the revenue to meet it, we are going to fail the test and we are going to progress into fiscal wash.
Thank you. Any other thoughts on this issue? Mr. Barr?
Yeah, I would just like to read into the record the ballot language that raised our municipal income tax from 1.75 to 2%. So, shall the ordinance provide an additional 0.25 of 1% levy on the income for the purpose of the safety services at a rate of 1/4 of 1% for the following: Police Department, 40%, Fire Department, 40%, Dispatch Services and Disaster Services, 10%, Street Improvement, 10%, be passed. And that was voted on by the citizens of Marion with a 55.65% to approve. Nowhere in that ballot language does it say if you work outside of the city and you earn those monies outside of the city, you will be credited. So what the subsequent council did after that by applying this credit, which I think is a novel idea and a good faith gesture, was overrode what the voters had already voted on here in the city. We need this revenue. That's what the language was. So for that reason, at this point, I'm in support of repealing this 100% tax credit.
Anything further? Ms. Larkin?
To get everything fixed, everybody needs to do something to help. Now, I know I worked at Honda. They did the cities, or they did the taxes for the city that you lived in, not for Union County. There's quite a few other companies that do that. But everybody needs to help to get this situation fixed. And if I'm support of it.
We've got another hand up back there, and then we're going to move on until public comments, except for, I'll come back to council, to Mr. Rollins.
Christian Dodson, 211 East Fairground. This directly impacts me. And it's not theory, like, this directly impacts me. And for the amount of money that I make, and I have no children, please believe me, I pay my fair share. I pay more than my fair share. So when this was passed, while it's not a lot, I mean, you guys take me to the max for the state. I believe that's the way it works. So it's like 0.62%. Because I'm working for the glorious city of Columbus, and they have a flat tax of 2.5%. And I get what you're saying, but it's hard for me to. So I just wanted you to know that it affects me directly. And I understand your point. But what you're doing is you're taking people who have the ability to leave, and you're saying that we're going to tax the Jesus out of you if you want to leave. And they will, because they have the ability to. They will move to Columbus and they will not commute that far anymore. And Marion will see a brain drain, they'll see people drain, the downtown will go back to the way it was. I'm saying it's not a lot of revenue for the amount of headache that it could cause for the city of Marion. Because we don't even know what the revenue is. We don't even know what the amount we'll gain is. I asked the auditor's office, not the auditor herself, but the office, and they said that it's roughly $600,000. So that's the barrier poking for 600 grand. I get it. I get we're in trouble. I do. I appreciate everything that you've said and everything you do, sir. I do. But this is, you play it out. I moved to Marion Township and I can still come to these committee meetings, and these committee meetings and hassle you like I don't have to pay the tax. So.
If we vote for you to speak.
Which you So.
Mr. Duncan,
I saw-
have a question for
Oh,
you.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is what you're saying is that there are people that live in Marion and the only reason they're here is because they get a tax credit where they work?
No,
And
I'm saying
if they don't get that, they'll leave?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I lived in Marion way before this. And some of the things that I've read, which is why I'm having a hard time being the normal eloquent speaker that I normally am. Because some of the things that I've read online about how that the people who are opposed to this are only here for the cheap housing. Look around. The housing ain't cheap. It ain't cheap at all. I can get, for what I pay in rent, I get a house, and I have a very good deal. But I can afford to move to Columbus and get 5 times the house that I have here. And not be that pressed.
No way.
Way. My rent.
That's just not factual.
It is factual.
It is not factual.
My rent is $250. 5 times that is $1,000. That's the going rate in Columbus.
For a studio.
No.
That's not the going rate in Marion.
You're right. But I'm saying,
Is this for the same point? Okay, because I saw Mr. Rollins' hand up before.
anyways, I just wanted to say my opinion and say that I appreciate everything you guys do for the city. Thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate your vote when I ask for it. Thanks.
Mr. Rollins, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a question for fellow councilperson. So the mayor mentioned maybe as much as $9 million. I'm to the councilperson from the second ward. You mentioned everyone needs to do their fair share. What is the taxpayers' fair share of the $9 million?
Yeah, but when they live in Marion, they
What is the fair share? What is the fair
Well-
share?
2%.
2%.
2%. 2% of 9 million?
No, 2% of their income.
2% of their
Is what-
income
is what-
for eternity.
That's not to say when things get situated that we could not put it back to the way it is now. But for now, to get things fixed, we need that extra money.
No, Mr. Burr?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I agree with Councilman Rollins down there that this should be done at the state legislature. It absolutely
yes,
should
it
be.
should.
I really believe that wherever you live, wherever you reside, that should be the municipal tax you pay. And I would hope that that would come out of the State House at some point this year. I really would. But I also believe that if we live here, if we reside here, we should all be paying our fair share of the parks, the roads to be plowed, our fire and our police. I yield the floor.
All right.
So
Mr. Rollins?
we just heard a citizen come up here and say how this impacts him. What services is he paying for in his taxes to another municipality when he's coming back to Marion because he loves living here? You can't argue it both ways. You can't.
Amy Temple, 413 Windsor Street. I just have one quick question for you. I wasn't here at the last meeting due to injury, but this went to the state auditor, the issue here. They gave options of how to produce revenue, am I correct? They gave you more than one option to research and to.
They gave a lot of suggestions.
Okay, suggestions. So why are we jumping on the bandwagon for the first suggestion? Are you doing research to look at the other suggestions instead of jumping on this one?
I'm glad you bring that up. Glad you bring that up because we're talking tonight about one thing that we can do to change to bring in maybe $600 and some thousand.
Right.
I will tell you with the forecasting that we're working on right now, which is another thing the state is going to require us to do as part of our recovery plan, is forecast out at least 3 years. It's not pretty.
No,
It is not pretty at all. And this piece that we're talking about tonight is just a piece of a great big puzzle that we're trying to put together. So there's going to be other increases that are going to be proposed.
That's where your townspeople are scared, confused, because they have no idea about that plan. All they know is you guys are sitting here and you're working on those plans. I'm sure you're doing a great job and you're working hard. You know, I appreciate everything. But they don't know the next step, so they're not secure. They're not feeling happy in their homes. They're not, I mean, hell, this water issue is just deplorable. But, you know, when you're not giving your community something to look forward to, then they're gonna be scared. They're not gonna wanna live here forever. Like, I came back with my mom. I was gone for 10 years. And I love this little city. I have a lot of memories here. And I would like for other people's kids to have great memories here.
Absolutely.
But right now, we're scared.
I hear you. And I hear Mr. Dunson, and he and I are on a lot of different things together, and just like Mr. Rollins, we might have an opposing opinion of something. But we have a lot of work to do between now and our 3-year forecast to get us back to.
Just a paragraph or a smidge bit of information that you can give your community to kind of put them at ease?
Absolutely, and that's part of what we're working on is our recovery plan.
Okay.
I can tell you that since 2017, sewer, storm, and sanitation, 8.7 million spent more than they brought in. Since 2017. Since 2023, our police and fire salaries have gone up $3.3 million. And they deserve every penny they get.
Yes, they do.
But how many policemen and firemen do we want? We have to decide that as a city. And we have to pay for that.
And their equipment and
absolutely.
their safety
And
equipment.
to Mr. Dunson's argument, I will tell you that I've seen it time and time again. Marion is a lot cheaper place to live than Delaware, Union County, Franklin County. It's a lot cheaper to live here. A lot of people do commute. My wife commutes every couple, 2 or 3 days a week at Columbus and back. So she's paying that. And I get it. But to honestly say that you can compare rent here to Columbus, he's getting a heck of a deal.
He is, that's what I was like, what?
I mean, that's great, he better never move because he's getting a heck of a deal, but this is all part of, you know, we're trying to fit different pieces of the puzzle. It's not easy. And you know, we can come up with all the expenses. Ms. Craig asked, you know, what were the exact cuts? We can give the exact cuts. Mr. Rollins, to one of his points that he makes, that we didn't lay anybody off. That's true, but we also absorbed several positions that were vacated. We absorbed them rather than lay people off. So we haven't got to that point yet. To say that we'll never get to that point, I can't stand here today and say that. But we're going to try like heck not to get there.
I appreciate all of it, for everything from everybody. I guess my concern is that we're, you know, as a citizen who doesn't know anything about all this, how everything runs and goes, I just concerned that not more than one option is being looked at. But I appreciate your answer and your truthfulness.
I meant to touch on what you asked.
Oh, okay.
I kind of lost track of what you asked specifically. That is one of the very first things And whether Ms. Craig chooses to believe us or not, there was 5 or 6 of us sitting around the table when Cindy from the state said, "What are you doing with this tax break?" I said, "They passed it in 2023. She said, "That's one of the first things you gotta look at." So that's one of the first things we looked at.
Okay.
And we have 2 or 3, 4 other things that,
That
you know,
you're
we're
at
gonna
least
bring into
considering.
session
Okay.
to try to get us back to floating level.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Barr? I saw you.
Yeah, Ms. Tibble, I just wanted to let you know too, at least for myself, and I'm assuming for all council members sitting up here, this isn't an easy decision to make. None of these are. And we don't take these lightly. We're trying to do what's best for our community. And
Well, I do realize y'all
even
have
with
hard
the tough
decisions.
decisions that are here before us today and that are coming this year.
Thank you.
Sulu County 365 East Farming. We heard about everybody needs to pay their fair share. And I'm not against that. But obviously, those people that haven't paid their income tax haven't paid their fair share. I'd really like to see a plan going after them first, because they owe it, and we know it. We should get it, plus interest and penalties. Now, once or twice I've paid my income tax late, I'll admit it. But I paid it, and I paid the penalty, and I'm even right now. But if we got that much out, the same thing with this sewer and sanitation. You guys eventually put it on the landlord just to get it quicker. Simple solution. And this again, it's just a simple solution when, hey, you've got money sitting in the bank, so to speak, you gotta start withdrawing it.
Mr. Watts.
Oh, Mr. Watts.
Yes. I'd like to make a point that's clear, is that we do have $1 million that's probably outstanding. A lot of it's old money, and it's hard to find the people. But when there is taxes owed, we send out letters notifying the people, ask them to pay. After a certain point, I don't know, how long is it, Mark? A year of sending out quarterly letters? We turn them over to the law director, who takes them to court. So it's not like we're just sitting around letting $1 million sit there. Plus, it's not like everybody that works outside the city of Marion is gonna get hit with this. It's only the people that get the credit are the ones that work outside of the Marion, that work in a municipality that pays their taxes. If somebody works at like Honda, they still have to pay city income tax. These would just be people that worked in Delaware, Columbus. So, I mean, we're not talking about a large majority of the population.
Thank you.
Ms. Craig.
Marion Craig, 360 Silver Street. As part of my accounting education, we were taught to trust but verify. So we don't just take anybody's word for it in the accounting world. We like to see documentation. So, again, I'll ask, is there a printed version of what the state is asking of the city that the taxpayers or the residents can see, instead of just taking people's word for it?
I think that's the caveat. The state cannot tell us what to do or what to put in that recovery
So
plan.
then how are we
They
to
can-
believe it? We're just supposed to take words for it? I mean, I still have a pending lawsuit against the city, and I'm having crap talk to me in the audience, okay? Whether Ms. Craig decides to believe us or not, okay? The accountant in me says, don't believe anything until I see it. I'm in tax season right now. If somebody came to me and said, put this in my tax return, okay, where's the documentation? I don't have it. It's not going in your tax return with my name on it. So I do not trust anything that we are told. I will trust what we see.
Well, a while ago, we said this was going to be a first reading. Mr. T. Smith, you want to add anything to this discussion?
Just a question for the mayor. Is there a recovery plan that is going to be made public in the near future for people to see with a list of things that we are doing?
I think the recovery plan that we've submitted to the state's already been made.
It's been made public already, okay.
It's been on,
So there's been
online, it's been in the Marion Star, I think, but.
Okay.
It is.
I thought it had
but
been.
It's not the approved plan yet, so obviously they want us to make some changes to it, so.
But that's what we're going with right now.
Right,
Okay.
and to the comment about trust but verify, what we're putting in that plan is what the state has made suggestions for us to do. What areas to look in to try to increase your revenue, what areas have you done to decrease your expenses? So I understand it's not verbatim from what the state is saying, but she's certainly willing, she certainly can ask the state if they want to tell what they told us in the meeting.
Okay, we're going to come back to this.
One more question, please.
Okay.
Naomi Craig, 365 Silver Street. Recently on Mr. Spears' radio program, our new treasurer was on there talking about how he's going to go after the waste, fraud, and abuse in the local government. Should we go? Should we go? No. Should we go after the waste, fraud, and abuse before we raise people's income taxes? And what is the waste, fraud, and abuse?
I believe that's for matters not on the agenda, Ms. Beck.
Yes, sir, then.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 2, ordinance 2026-019.
Ordinance directing the auditor to make additional appropriations within the Department of Public Safety Indigent Burial Fund line item.
Also out of finance, Mr. Rollins?
Yeah, this came out of finance with a 3-0 recommendation for approval. This is pretty standard. This is money from the state for indigent burials. If there's no questions or concerns, I will make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
We have a motion to suspend the 3 readings rule and a second from Mr. Barr. All right.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to suspend 3 readings carries unanimously. Mr. T. Smith?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Mr. T. Smith, and it looks like the second from Mr. Rollins.
So moved.
All right. Any discussion? Any questions?
You have a question in the audience?
Mr. Dunstan?
Christian Nelson, 211 East Fairground. So, just real quick, I just have a question about, do you have enough council members to suspend?
Yes.
Requires 7.
Requires 7? Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council? All right. When you're ready to roll call.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Next up is item number 3, ordinance 2026-020.
Ordinance requesting additional appropriations to the SCMR fund in the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 2025. Sorry, 2026.
Okay, Mr. Rollins.
Yeah, this also came out of finance with 3-0 recommendation for approval. This is the standard kind of boilerplate legislation that we see on a regular basis for bonds that are collected by the city and then paid out. Again, if there's no other questions or comments, I will make a motion to go ahead and suspend the 3 reading rule.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend 3 readings, and it looks like the second from Mr. R. Smith. Let's take a roll on that.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to suspend carries unanimously. Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Rollins, and the second again from Mr. T. Smith.
R. Smith.
Mr. R. Smith, sorry, they're sitting next to each other. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, go ahead.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance 020. Item number 4, ordinance 2026-021.
An ordinance authorizing the release and expenditure of more than 25% of the approved first quarter budget due to annual expenses required to be paid in advance for the year ending December 31st, 2026.
And this is also out of finance. Mr. Mr. R. Smith.
I have a question, well, two actually. In the second whereas, the first line doesn't seem to make sense to me, whereas certain operational expenses of the are required. I'm not really sure.
You see what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Probably the of the needs to be stricken, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of
I'll
the,
make a motion to amend that.
Second.
We have a motion to amend from Mr. Barr and a second from Mr. Clark. When you're ready.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to amend carries.
You have to read it again.
Got it, yeah.
She
Mr.
needs
R.
to read it
Smith.
as amended.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
An ordinance authorizing the release of expenditures of more than 25% of the approved first quarter budget due to annual expenses required to be paid in advance of the year ending December 31st, 2026, as amended.
Mr. R. Smith.
I guess my question is for Ms. Troiano. The 25% that was allocated, and then we have an additional requested amount, those two are added together, correct?
Yeah, it's not to exceed the full budgeted amount.
Okay, so let's take City Hall, lands and buildings, for example. They were allocated $1,087.50 in the 25% budget, and they've requested an additional $1,602.13 for a total of $2,689.63, and then that would leave them with $1,660.37 remaining in their budget. Is that correct?
Just looking at the legislation, I can't say for sure what their remaining amount is at the moment. I know they've spent some of it, so.
That's what it sounds like. Mr. Watts, did you have clarification? I thought maybe you
No,
took a half of a hand up.
The thing is this is just asking for additional money of their budgeted amount to be incorporated before we get to the releasing the whole amount of the budget. This doesn't exceed what was budgeted by council. It only would exceed the 0.25% because certain things, 0.25%, yeah.
25.
Because certain
The
things
25%.
like, tax refunds come in, before, most of the tax refunds will occur in the first part of the year. And so we ask for an additional amount. It doesn't exceed what was budgeted by council, but it's just an additional amount. As far as how much is left from what is budgeted, that's, I don't, we wouldn't know that without having the budget in front of us.
That's what I'm saying, I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I'm using that as an example. I just want to make sure I understand how this pieces together, that the 25% they already have, plus what they're requesting now, will be taken out of that budget.
25%.
So they have a
Taken
certain
out of
amount
the
left.
Right.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you, I appreciate that, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Barr?
Barring any more discussion, I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 readings.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend 3 readings and a second from Mr. R. Smith. Are you ready?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to suspend the 3 readings rules carries. And Mr. Barr?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Mr. T. Smith as the second. Any further discussion or questions on that? Okay, hearing none.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
No.
6 to 1.
Motion carries 6 to 1. Oh, and make sure you have that
Yeah, that's already corrected.
spelling error. Typo. Okay, we are moving on to matters not on the agenda from administration or council. Hearing none, we'll go on to committees. Oh, I'm sorry.
Forgive me, I do want to make a statement. As elected president pro tem and a vacancy on this committee, I'd like to, obviously, Mr. Rollins would be the chair, Mr. R. Smith would be the vice chair, and appoint Danny Clark to the finance committee. And then I don't think we're going to fill the other spots until approximately 2 weeks when the other 2 seats are filled. But I just think it's imperative that we have the finance committee fully staffed at this point.
Was it?
Mr. Barr, would you give me that second name?
Ralph Smith as vice chair,
Oh, he's already, yeah. he's-
Danny Clark appointed to the finance
Gotcha.
committee.
Okay, thank you. All right, committee meetings, first,
This matter is not on the agenda.
oh, sorry.
Just had a question for the mayor. I don't know if you've said yet or not, but are we planning on trying to replace Mr. Bodine, or would we be able to reappropriate the money for that position and put it back into the general fund or whatever we need to do?
So as you will see at the next committee meeting, our intention is to merge the safety service director position back as one position instead of 2, thus saving money from the salary of that.
Perfect, that's what I
So
wanted.
that'll be coming to you guys at committee next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, committee meetings. I have first up on the list, airport lands and buildings, Mr. Clark.
Nothing at this time.
Information systems, Mr. Smith.
Yes, at 6:30, we'll go over we'll have an ordinance for the reports.
Okay. Mr. Rollins, jobs and economic development.
I do not believe any committee meeting to schedule, but I do believe there is a downtown Marion board meeting. Is that correct? What is the date and time of that?
This Friday at 8 a.m.
Thank you.
Friday, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to Fridays.
I will be there.
Listen, you go and you get the numbers.
Thank you. All right, legislation codes and regulations, Mr. R. Smith.
Yes, we have 635, and we have zoning fee review and a liquor permit.
All right, municipal services, parks and rec, Mr. T. Smith.
We'll go 640, we have a job description review. I believe we have some minutes to discuss as well, or to
All right.
approve of as well.
Public utilities. Who's my next person on?
I think Mr. Clark is all that's left. Or no, Mr. Smith.
Mr. R. Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Got anything on the agenda coming up?
Wouldn't do any good to me anyway.
Okay. Regional planning, Ms. Larkin, I see you've got.
March 25th, 7 p.m.
There's also Wednesday.
Wednesday, this Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday, the 25th, right? And then streets and sewers, Mr. Barr?
Nothing at this time.
Zoning and annexation, Mr. Kreider?
Nothing at this time.
And finance, Mr. Rollins?
Yeah, we'll have a meeting 6:40, old business, we'll talk audits.
6:45 maybe?
45.
Sorry?
6:45 is good, right?
Sure. All the usual shenanigans for finance.
Okay. Next, we come to public comments.
Here's Lipke 555 Normandy Drive. So I apologize, I haven't been at city council this year. I had sent my dog up for dog training Monday night. So I have some questions, and if they're repetitive, hopefully it can help some other people that don't know maybe some of the answers to it as well. A lot of these are related to the deficit fund balances. So Madam President, if I should be directing them to a staff member, I assume you'll let me know. So I read in the Marion Star, I've been reading the articles, trying to stay up to date, that we have about 8.9 million in deficit fund balances. Can somebody just explain to me what that means? Does that mean that we had to borrow $8.9 million? Is that a fiscal year deficit, or is it line item like a certain fund had a deficit spend? Can you break it down? Like, I don't know anything about city finances, and explain to me what that means.
Yeah, I would ask either the auditor or our new treasurer.
Well, the city has so many funds, right? We have, take for example, $13 million, okay? Some of it is kept in a checking account at a local bank, and then some of it is kept as investments.
Okay.
So, of that amount, that $13 million are what we call fund balances. You have certain funds. You have enterprise funds, general fund. Okay, so, like with the sewers and storm sewers and
Wastewater.
yes, wastewater sewers. The city does projects through the Ohio Public Works, okay? So when they ask for a grant, and then they ask for a loan. So what happens is part of the loan needs to be paid back. And then the EPA has ordered us to do certain projects out at the water treatment plant. So what happens is the sewer fund would only bring in like $2 million. But with the, what the Ohio EPA has required us to do, and what we have done on loans with OPWC, the difference between the spending is we spent more than that was brought in. So the fund has gone into a deficit.
Okay.
Now, the state says that out of all your funds, that your funds, certain amount of your funds can be in a deficit. But if the deficit is over top of what the general fund has, then you're in fiscal watch. Is that the first phrase? Caution, fiscal caution. Because the state looks at it to say that if for some reason we dissolve the city, the general fund, which is unobligated funds, would need to pay all the deficits back. And if it can't do that, then you're in caution.
And
So the
so-
deficit would be spending more than they brought in.
In those individual funds.
Right.
So what is our overall then deficit? So if we were to close today as a city and our operating fund had to pay off all those deficits, is it 8.9 million?
No. I think there's like 6 million in the general fund, and there's 8 million outstanding, so we'd have like 2 million.
So we'd be short $2 million.
Yes, because the balances on the other funds are restricted, like.
Right.
Like the
So we're
streets,
$2 million
like the
in the
streets
hole to
fund.
pay our debts, if you look at it, right? We have
Right.
payables more than we have cash to pay them, if we had to pay them all today.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you'd have funds left over, but those would be in specific funds. Like streets, you get gas tax and license fees.
Okay.
Not allowed to spend that on anything but streets and bridges.
So over how many fiscal years did it take us to get to that 8.9 million in fund deficits? One?
No, since about
Oh.
2020.
So it's been.
Since we've not reconciled the books, right?
No, right.
That's how this issue continues to compound, because in lay people's terms, this is if you had imagine if you had a checkbook for every one of your funds.
Right.
You had a grocery checkbook, you had a gas checkbook, and over the course of 5 years, you just didn't go back and verify your funds that you were writing checks for.
Correct, yeah.
It's pretty easy
Right.
to accumulate over time.
So, Mr. Rollins, that's really my next question. You know, how did we get to this point? I mean, how did we not know that we were...
Failure to reconcile. It is an accountability problem. It is the argument I made earlier. It's not a revenue generating problem. We have had a failure of accountability in multiple offices over multiple administrations for multiple years, and we have no auditable books.
So, last year, for example, or since, Mayor, you have had a budget director, were you not, was your budget director not aware that you were in this deficit spending situation?
She was aware, and I'm glad you brought that up. So we went back to 2020 because that's where our reconciliation is. And back in 2020, there was a negative fund balance of $9,298. In 21, that grew to $444,000. In 22, that grew to $1.6 million. In 23, that grew to $7.274 million.
And so when someone sits up here for 5 years and says we have to reconcile the books, this is why.
Yeah, no,
And that just to go to 24, which
Right.
is the point I was trying to, you can see how those progressively
Yeah.
are getting worse. And 24, it went down to 7.1 million. But that's because the budget director at the time, Tacey Courtright, saw the need for us. That's why our budget ended up being a lot higher in 24 than what we approved in the beginning, because she paid down 4-point-some-odd million of negative fund balance. And these numbers could change because of the reconciliations. Once we get those in, these numbers could go up or down. It's kind of a moving target at this point.
So, Mr. Rollins, use your analogy, like you had a checkbook for groceries. In the city's case, when we were paying out more than a fund had coming in, where'd that money come from? Because in your case, the bank is gonna call you up and say, you know, you have overdraft fees, right? In that example you gave. So what happened to the city when we were paying out from a certain fund that didn't have the money to do that? Were you having to come to city council and move?
General fund supplement,
Yeah, the general fund has suffered.
which
right?
is not
We-
supposed to be able to happen.
And then that would be an ordinance, would come to city council and ask to move funds from the general fund to cover those costs.
And then you reduce carryover to all that comes into effect, yeah.
Right. And so, as of today, how much cash and investments does the city have? What's that balance?
5 million. in-
Total in cash and investments?
Well, 5 million in investments. I think there's 3 million in cash in the,
It's around 7 or 8 million today.
yeah.
And if I remember, probably related, you can see it from your description, 4 years ago, we had about 13 million. Is that's, I mean, I know I'm not probably stating a fact, but I remember coming to meetings and.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I read the annual report before I came here, and I like data, so some of the sections I had a lot of data, but I felt like the annual report was missing a lot of the financial information that would be really good for citizens to have right now, as we're trying to.
It's hard without reconciling
But-
books. It gives you
Exactly,
that.
but some
They can give
things-
it to us.
Yeah, but so, for example, the aquatic department, nice story in there, right? But how much revenue did the aquatic facility bring in, and how much did it spend? I mean, that doesn't need to be reconciled. The senior center, how much money did the senior center get allocated for taxes, and what was its budget, and how much did it spend? None of that is in that annual report, and that's the kind of transparency that I think as citizens, you know, we would like to see. The stories are great, right? Stories are important, and a description of what staff did for the year is also great. But like the police department had really good data in its
Yes.
report. Well, let's see that same data for the aquatic center for those standalone fund, I don't know if they're technically funds, but, those standalone entities that we can see.
And I think that's what we hope the auditor's office will bring eventually, is that clarity, that kind of clarity in what our expenses versus our revenue are and where those are at.
And I appreciate that, but I would think your budgeting staff should be able to look at the aquatic center without the auditor and say, how much revenue, what did the aquatic center do last year? Was it a plus, was it a drain, did it wash even? Was
A
it
general
override?
summary at the end of their report.
The
with them.
senior center, the same thing, those are just a couple. Matt would be in that Marion Area Transit, what was it, was it over budget, under budget? Those are things that are important when we're hearing all this financial.
When we approved the position of budget, office and budget management, we were given a really wonderful report, I have it somewhere, from the city of Findlay, that their budget manager put together. And we were told, hey, you guys are going to get stuff like this, which is one of the reasons I voted for that legislation, to get those reports, to see that analysis on a quarterly basis.
To Ms. Craig's point about transparency too, I would encourage you, or maybe it's there and I just couldn't find it, like the state auditor's recommendation and your plan for fiscal correction, is it on your website? Is there a link? Is it just right there, boom? I mean, yes, it's been public in the Marion Star, but the Star is going to print summaries. They're not printing the actual documents, are they?
I don't think we put it out because it hasn't been approved yet. We were waiting for it to be approved, and then we can officially put it out that this is our approved recovery plan.
But the recovery plan that was rejected, you have, right?
Right.
And the auditor's response to that, are those on your website? The state's response? Let's get them up there.
Okay.
So that, we can see that, then that's that transparency that, people are talking about. The other thing listening, just thinking that, I understand there's a lot of pieces, but from the public's perspective, when we only see a piece at a time, when you're doing one piece of revenue, I would rather see the whole plan. Have some public meetings that show, okay, we have to rescind the income tax credit, but we also have to raise water, or whatever those things are, because when you do it piece by piece like this, and so people talk about being fearful, you don't know, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna have to pay more income tax, what's next? As opposed to seeing the whole, I understand you're in a hurry, right? You need to get moving, but let's see the whole thing. Have some public meetings, encourage people to come and talk about it, break it down, explain this, and then say, here's how we're gonna increase revenue, here's how we're gonna cut expenses. When you do it piece by piece, we as the public don't have a chance to know how that's gonna impact us. Like I can say, I'm for this piece of it, but then I don't realize that a month later I'm going to have something else impact me, and if I had seen the whole thing, I might not have been for that. Does that make sense? No. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Sulu County 365 East Farming. I'd like to go back to the income tax, if I may, and just ask, why hasn't that been turned over to collections?
You have to ask our tax commissioner.
What do you mean, why hasn't it been turned?
Has it been turned over to a collection agency?
No,
Why?
because it goes to the law director.
Well,
So the process has been, as Mr. Watts pointed out, the tax department can see the revenue they generate, they can see, and it was pointed out earlier, one thing we all could do better is look and see who is not paying their taxes.
right.
We can expand on that, but when we've identified a taxpayer who appears to us to have not paid their 100% tax due,
Right.
the income tax department generates demand letters, and if there's no response to those demand letters, the case is referred to the law director's office, and then we file a suit in Marion Municipal Court against the taxpayer.
And you get judgment.
We get judgment, and then we collect on the judgment.
How do you collect on the judgment?
Through garnishment, bank accounts, wages, we use all the tools available to us.
Try collection agencies?
We haven't, so you've been
I mean,
around.
you got $1 million out.
Well,
apparently it's been out for a while.
But Mr. Watts
Well,
also
okay.
pointed out, the $1 million isn't just for one tax year.
Right.
Mr. Watts pointed out the tax collection rate on income tax from those taxes due is 97% collection rate.
Right.
We can focus and collect the remaining 3%. That's what I was just talking about. We do need to focus on those we don't see, but we don't use a collection agency. And just if you...
Why not?
Well,
It would be a simple thing for the city to do.
wouldn't it be better if we collect it
Well, yes, and not
and not have to pay a collection agency?
Pay more money.
Yes, but you've got $1 million out, so obviously you have to have.
Again, it's important to point out, that's not $1 million for 1 year.
I
That's $1
understood.
million for, do you have an estimate of how far back it goes?
I think we-
3 to 6 years?
6 years.
6 years. So if you break it down, $1 million in the past 5 to 6 years, it's $200,000 a year.
Yeah,
So we will look at all options. I appreciate your suggestion.
all right.
We're open to utilizing a collection agency. And it was mentioned very briefly early on, this council had approved the use of the Ohio Attorney General's office. And I worked closely with Mr. Watts and the tax administrator. In the initial discussions with the Ohio Attorney General's office, they indicated that if we referred a case similar to our collection agency, they would charge 10%. After we got approval from council and went back to sign the document, we had told them before we went to council, we're going to strike 2 paragraphs out on this. There was A, B, and C. A was, taxpayer that failed to pay was going to pay a 10% collection fee to the AG. B was assigned to special counsel at a rate of 20%. C was assigned to, I can't remember, a third-party agency at higher than 20%.
Typically 30.
35%. And we told the OAG in advance, we're gonna strike those out. We're not gonna utilize those because we don't want to cause additional penalties to a taxpayer that's having difficulties paying their taxes at a greater than 20% up to 35% collection rate. So at the moment, we're focused on collecting 100% of what's due. When we went to sign the contract, they said, you can't strike out B and C. And the local administrators and councilperson said, we wouldn't do that. We won't have a taxpayer who's having a problem paying their taxes due, pay an additional up to 35% fee. So right now, we're in-house.
The IRS does.
Right now, we're working to refine our processes so that we're collecting it, we're collecting 100%. Right now, we're 97%,
Right.
collecting 100%. But I'm open to other suggestions. I appreciate your comment.
Okay. Another possible source of revenue, I almost guarantee you have not thought about. In the senior center, I remember when it was being re-roofed and Josh Daniels said we should ask the county to help pay for the roof because a large number of the people in the senior center were from the county. So we have people using the senior center that are not paying taxes on it. And we had all this hullabaloo on the first article tonight about everybody paying their fair share. Well, these people are coming in and using it. Now, I'm not using it, I don't care to use it, but that's beside the point.
I brought this issue to Councilman Smith several months ago.
Okay.
To his credit, he went to the mayor, his committee asked the mayor to go to the county to ask exactly what you're asking, and that has been done to my knowledge.
They're contributing?
Well, I don't know if they're contributing, but they were asked.
Okay. Well, then we just charge the county people the membership fee.
Well, also the senior center is supplemented by a levy that everybody pays. So whether you're a city or county, a good portion of their operating revenue comes from the levy.
But that
So
comes on
kind of
everybody.
county people that do go there are paying, through the levy to do that. But we did approach the commissioners about kicking in some extra money, and due to their budget constraints, they decided that wasn't something they could do.
Consider a non-resident membership fee. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gray.
And Craig 365 Silver Street, matters not on the agenda. I recently, or I guess last week or whatever, our new treasurer was on Mr. Spears' radio program, and she, I guess I could ask her, she discussed waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, if we have $1 million sitting in uncollected taxes, we apparently have waste, fraud, and abuse that needs addressed, and we are going after the easiest revenue source. So I'm curious as to what the waste, fraud, and abuse is, because it sounded like it had been identified, or that it was an issue or a problem, and if you're asking us for more money, we should know where our current money is being wasted, frauded, and abused. Anyone?
Well, I believe the biggest abuse is not reconciling our bank to book balances.
Okay, I mean, that ship sailed. We're paying people to do that for us now, which apparently, I mean, we should have done it years ago if that was the
Well, we
answer
were
to
given
the problem.
recommendations 2.5 years ago, and that was never implemented. So now
We
we're
spent
back here.
$275,000 on their
And did
cost,
not,
though.
and did not implement any of the recommendations that they gave us.
So is that waste?
I think it is. I think it's wasting paying the people in those elected positions that didn't utilize it.
Well, I mean, was it waste to Veritas, though?
But I don't think so, because that's what needs to be done. And that's what should be done.
$275,000 and they did 1 year for us, is that correct, or did they do 2 years?
The problem was, the sitting auditor did not take the recommendations that Veritas
Do
made.
you know that for certain?
Yes, I do,
How?
because I talked with her.
You talked, and she told you, she admitted to you that she did
Not
not
in
do her
specific
job.
terms.
So you implied it from what she said?
Yes,
Okay,
but,
so then you don't know for certain. I just don't like people being disparaged.
okay, then I will
We're
never
past-
say anything else to
we're-
you.
Don't say it disparagingly. Don't talk to people, I mean, you don't know for certain, you implied it. So now we're up here disparaging her.
Okay,
We
let's-
did that
let's move
plenty.
on.
Okay, but I mean, you know, the way we're talked to, that's an issue. I guess that's another matters on the, not on the agenda. But the way we're talked to. So no one other than blaming the former auditor and treasurer, we can't come up with where that waste, fraud, and abuse went. But we have the current treasurer on the radio talking about it.
Mr. Smith.
If somebody says, we need you to do this, and you say, okay,
I don't know what that means.
okay, I'll explain it.
Please give me an example. Yeah.
If Veritas says that we need to do this, this, and this in
Mhm.
order to get the book straight,
Mhm.
right? And they say, okay, I understand. And a year later, it still hasn't been done, then it's pretty obvious that they don't want to do it.
So then as elected representatives, elected officials, you all took the step at the beginning of this year to have Ms. McGinnis removed from office. Why wasn't that done a year ago? Why wasn't the waste, fraud, and abuse addressed a year ago? Why is it being addressed now, but first we're hitting the taxpayers too?
Or 2 years ago,
Well, 5 years ago.
exactly. Because it wasn't, so we did it.
Okay. Respectfully, you were on council for a few months, what, like a year or something like that?
Right.
Why in the year didn't you do anything about it in that year?
I was still learning. I was just taking stuff in.
You never mentioned it though.
Oh, yeah, it was mentioned,
When?
but no action was taken because it takes 3 people to do it.
Okay, so 2 of you that did it are sitting, we're in council still. I mean, I don't remember who the third one is now. But I don't know, what I'm trying to get at
It's elected official.
is you can't get on the radio and talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, and then tell us that we've got $1 million that we're owed, and ask us for more money. Do you see the optics on that? I hope you at least see that. Can I get a head nod from anyone?
Yeah, I see the optics on it, and like I said earlier to Ms. Temple, these decisions are not made lightly. No one wants to sit up here. It is a political suicide to say, hey, we need to repeal this 100% tax credit if you work out of town.
Okay.
But we are,
You went after the easy money first, right?
there are many
Agreed?
things coming, Ms. Craig.
Okay, and I know sewer bills are one of them. You know what? I'm fine with that. It hits
Yeah.
me 10 times. I'm cool with
I know.
that, all right? So, but you've got to stop with this, oh, there's conspiracy and waste, fraud, and abuse, and we need more of your money to take care of
Who's
it.
this you?
I'm sorry, the city government, how's that? Are you all members of the city government? Yes? So our leaders are telling us that there's waste, fraud, and abuse, and other leaders are telling us that we need more money.
Anything else with public comments? All right, hearing none. Oh, sorry, got one?
Beverly Mayor, 890 Gephardt Street. I know we've addressed this before, but I'm going to continue to address it. Last week I came in here and I struggled with words. Tonight I made sure I said an extra prayer to make sure that don't happen. I have before you these few little things here. One's the Constitution of the United States. This one here has to do with brief history of the United States, talking about the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. I had these things given to me by a gentleman whose name, one of two gentlemen, either a Pastor Bill Snyder or a Harold Cooper. Has to do with Citizens for the Constitution. This stuff was given to me over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and I've kept it because I've always liked the Constitution. Anyway, this gentleman, one of these two gentlemen, which I don't know which one was that gave it to me now, I wish I did, but anyway, they said to me that they're not teaching our children about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. And that these two gentlemen were going around town and other areas of schools and dressing up and educating the kids to do the Constitution because they weren't doing it there for a while. They actually even quit teaching cursive writing. My daughters are 30 and 26. My 26-year-old, she was the last to learn cursive writing, and then there was a gap. I have at least a solid probably 10 years where no one was taught that. Anyway, let's see. On page 22 of this pocket Constitution is Amendment 4 for the United States Constitution. It reads, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, and against unreasonable searches and seizures, shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." In the regular Constitution of the Ohio Constitution, it says, under Article 1, Section 14, under search warrants and general warrants, it reads, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, possessions, against unreasonable searches and seizures, shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched and their persons, things to be seized." I bring this up is because I like to talk about these block cameras, and that's why I'm talking about the block cameras, because they violate this right. Our Sheriff's Department and our local PD, along with other police departments, are violating this right by subscribing, if you will, these are my words, subscribing to this private company's surveillance system like it's Netflix. These cameras, they gain access to without a warrant. Hence the problem, if we have to have the warrant for this, these are just regular cameras that they're accessing and then using information on these cases. So these cameras that they gain access to without a warrant seems to be a clear violation of Article 1, Section 14 of the Ohio Constitution. So setting the regular Constitution aside, that's for the Ohio Constitution. And one thing I wanted to say also in addition last week was the Ring thing that was a private surveillance company. Ring is private surveillance. Everybody's like signed up for that. I have this stupid thing on my house, something, because Josh wants it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Anyway, Ring is a private company that advertised helping find lost dogs on a Super Bowl commercial just this very year. Well, the people pushed back, and guess what? They're not doing that agreement no more. Our voices do matter. We need to speak up. It says right here at the bottom of this Constitution of the United States, it's only keepers, the people. If we, the people, do not stand to defend this Constitution, who is? That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing, we're adjourned at 7:55.
Yes, this is so bad because she never has anything good to say.